So I want to talk about the first Descendant and how the entire time I was playing it, it felt overly familiar. Playing through what was available through the beta test, I kept going, oh, this is just like that game. And oh, they took this from another game. As I was being introduced to each system slash mechanic in the game via tutorials and on-screen pop-ups. So now that the test is over, I'm gonna go through each game I was comparing it to, all mostly looter shooters, and do side-by-side comparisons. And towards the end of the video, I will give some thoughts about how I feel about some of these systems and how they were implemented in this game. I'm gonna start with some basic concepts and work my way into more specific systems as I make comparisons. First up, characters. Here, they're going with the same idea as Warframe, where you can choose from a roster of characters to play with. Wait, not choose, but unlock. Because just like with Warframe, you get to choose one character out of 3 starter characters at the beginning to start playing the game with. Then, later on, you have to farm materials to research the remaining characters. And not only that, they even have their own version of Prime Warframes called Ultimate Descendants. In the beta, there was only 2 Ultimate Descendants you can potentially play, either Lepic or VSF. The reason I say potentially is because the process to unlock them is a time-consuming grind that wasn't possible in the beta, unless you started the grind when the beta started on day 1, and had a consistent group to play with in order to farm the things you needed efficiently. Next, crafting and research, which is also another thing they took inspiration from Warframe. If you want a new character, it isn't just enough getting all the resources you need to make the character, but you also have to wait a certain amount of IRL time after crafting them in order to play with the new person you just unlocked, and the same goes for weapons too. Now onto weapons. You have a similar weapon loadout system like in Destiny, where you have 3 guns equipped at all times. You have a primary, a special, and a heavy weapon slot in Destiny, but there's more varied ammo types in this game, which is unlike Destiny, but more akin to Borderlands, but not as many. You have general, special, impact, and high power rounds. And the slots aren't restricted either, meaning if you really wanted to, you can equip 3 guns that use the same ammo type. Keep in mind, this is a stupid idea, and I wouldn't really recommend it. When it comes to looter shooters, diversifying your ammo types is one of the most efficient ways to play these types of games at a higher level content. Inventory management. Now here's where most of my pain points with this game lie, but I'll save my critiques for the end of the video. Alongside the weapon slots, you can also equip a reactor and external components in what I will refer to as equipment slots, which is similar to Borderlands conceptually, but since the amount of slots end up being a total of 5 slots instead of 4, it more closely matches Destiny and Outriders' armor slots count numerically, since they basically serve the same purpose, giving you more stats, plus something spicy that enhances gameplay. For this game, that means huge stat bonuses for skills. When you reach max inventory space, you can then dismantle what you don't want or need for resources that are used for crafting and upgrading. Thankfully, they have an item tagging system similar to Borderlands and Outriders, where you can mark the items you don't want as junk, and the stuff you do want to keep, you can favorite them, or as it's called in this game, register them. Here's where I'm thankful I didn't have to manage this part of my inventory. Consumables. Consumables are divided into 3 categories: enhancement materials, craft materials, and intercept battle materials. Craft materials are self-explanatory. These are used to craft items. Enhancement materials is where they took a page out of Bungie's book with Destiny as far as leveling up weapons go. In this game, the functionality of upgrade modules is essentially the same, but they're called phase exchangers. Phase exchangers are comparable to upgrade modules where they are used to upgrade the level of a low-level weapon with the higher level weapon by infusing the higher level weapon into the weapon you want to level up. The costs are different in this game though. In Destiny, only one module is needed to level up either weapons or armor of any rarity tier. For this game, you need 1 phase exchanger for blue tier rarity weapons, 2 phase exchangers for purple tier rarity weapons, and 5 phase exchangers for the yellow exotic rarity weapons, or ultimate weapons as they're called in this game. However, the ion accelerators don't allow you to infuse higher level reactors into lower level ones, unfortunately. They only increase the potency of the skill power stat on reactors. Kind of similar to how mods are upgraded, more on that later. Then there is Intercept Battle Materials, or IBMs for short, which is almost a one-to-one copy of the relic system in Warframe. If you haven't played Warframe, these are basically loot boxes or chests that you can open after fulfilling the requirements to open them, which is done by completing specific missions called Void Fissures. In Warframe, you open relics by collecting reactants.
Look out for reactant. Use that reactant to open a relic. Don't forget the reactant. You need more to open that relic.
Which drop from killing enemies that spawn from Void Fissures in those missions.
There are void fissures in the area. Use these to crack open a relic.
In this game, you open them from killing specific bosses in Void Intercept battles. The reason why I said it's almost a one-to-one copy is because we have a watered-down version compared to how the relics work in Warframe. After you kill a boss, you get one of the potential items listed in the drop pool of the IBMs you bring with you. And one neat thing about this is you have a choice between multiple IBMs you have on you after you kill a boss, which is slightly different from Warframe, so long as the IBM is linked to that boss. In Warframe, however, you actually have the ability to upgrade relics to increase the chances of the rare items to drop before you begin the mission. Once you're in the mission, after you get enough reactants, at the very end of the mission, you actually get to choose the loot that you want, because unlike this game, in Warframe, you get the option of choosing a loot the other people in the lobby received from opening their relics. And there's several different strategies when it comes to farming relics in Warframe. For example, with a 4-person group, you can get the rare item within 3 runs or so if everybody brings in a max refinement relic of the same type. This game doesn't have anything remotely similar as far as I'm aware. Then there is the mod system from Warframe, where you have the ability to slot mods on all of your weapons and your characters. They even work in the same way with capacity cost, and having a polarity type for each mod, which reduces the cost of the mod if slotted into a matching slot on a weapon or character. Even the way you upgrade mods is similar to Warframe, where you have a unique currency called Cooper, which is basically Indo from Warframe, that is specifically used just for upgraded mods. Increasing mod capacity. This is where I can give this game some props. They took this concept directly from Warframe, but made it slightly better in one aspect, increasing the mod capacity for gear and characters. In Warframe, there's 2 different items you have to craft in order to increase the mod capacity for either weapons, characters, vehicles, or companions. An Orokin reactor is needed for Warframes, vehicles, and companions. An Orokin catalyst is needed for weapons. Thankfully, in this game, it's consolidated to a single item, the energy activator. Also, adding a polarity to a mod slot is one-to-one compared to Warframe. In Warframe, the item you need to add polarities is called a forma, and in this game it's called a crystallization catalyst. It adds a module socket type to a mod slot on either a weapon or a character, and resets the level back to 0. Mastery ranks. Here's another part of the game where they took something from Warframe and made it better. The mastery rank system. The basic concept is the same essentially. You gain mastery XP from earning XP while doing missions and killing enemies, while using characters and weapons you haven't reached max proficiency level yet on your account. The differences between the 2 games are as follows. You get different rewards for ranking up, and in this game you don't have to risk your mastery rank promotion on whether or not you can complete a test, whereas in Warframe, if you fail a test, you have to wait 24 IRL hours before attempting the test again. Another thing that took inspiration from Destiny and many other games is multiplayer emotes. I've only seen the fireworks emote, the bongos emote, and the photoshoot emote during my time with the beta, but I'm sure there's more.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Looting slash gear drops. This aspect of the game I'd say is similar to Borderlands, where they drop a lot of loot when you kill enemies. And that's pretty much all the comparisons I can make to other looter shooters. Now onto my personal pain points with this game. Inventory management in this game is abysmal, and I feel it's because they mesh together systems from different games without understanding why those systems existed or worked in those games in the first place. Now what do I mean by that? Well, there's no arguing that this game is heavily inspired by Warframe. The thing with Warframe is that there is no equipment drops, weapons don't drop, and Warframes don't drop either. They basically took the abundant loot drop loop from Borderlands and put it together with the Warframe systems that they're using, which don't play well together. Essentially what happens is after every mission or two, your inventory is maxed out, forcing you to always dismantle garbage gear. And you don't get a choice to leave items on the ground either, because it auto-loots them when you walk over them, unlike Borderlands where you have to press a button to pick up loot. The thing is, you have to pick up all the item drops because you need to dismantle them in order to extract the materials you need for crafting and upgrading stuff. Whereas in Warframe, the only drops are usually blueprints, materials, resources, and ammo. In Warframe, inventory management is practically non-existent because you never have to fiddle with low-level gear drops or deleting and dismantling stuff you don't need on a regular basis. Not to mention there is no inventory cap as far as I'm aware either. Another pain point for me was target farming certain materials. Target farming certain crafting materials is very tedious in this game. The way you farm for materials has an unfulfilling gameplay loop. For specific resources, you have to open containers or destroy boxes throughout specific missions in certain regions of the world zones. After you open or destroy all the containers, you then have to teleport out of the zone and teleport back in to repeat the process. Warframe admittedly does something similar with some of its rarer materials, but they actually have an AFK system that mitigates this issue where you can probe locations on the map for specific materials that drop in that region. And they also have bounties you can complete as well for uncommon and rare materials. And after playing through to the end of the beta, I found no similar systems exist to mitigate target farming these harder to get materials. And here's a bonus comparison. I actually have another comparison I can make, but it's unrelated to looter shooters. This one is related to gacha games specifically. But it's more on a conceptual level and nowhere near a one-to-one comparison. This is exclusive to Ultimate Weapons. I found out on the last day of the beta test that when you upgrade an ultimate weapon, it increases the potency of its effect on the weapon, and it has a maximum of 4 tiers from what I can see in the UI. Kind of similar to some gacha games, where if you get an additional copy of a character, it gives you a boost to their overall stats, or makes their abilities more potent. Basically, it's similar in concept. We have to obtain an additional copy of an ultimate weapon to make it stronger. And, shit. I forgot the rest. Sorry. Got distracted. I guess I'll end the video here. To those of you that made it this far in the video, thank you. I appreciate you. Now, I know all of you are smart and intelligent people, so I don't need to tell you how these buttons work. Right? Of course not. And once again, thank you for watching my video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, be safe out there, and until next time.